7:37. Good Thursday morning to you. We've got the coach Marc Lafleur in studio with us, and Greg Mackel hanging around. Well, last time we spoke, we were in the series with Powassan, which came to an end last. I'll tell you though, in that third period of the last game, most frantic period of hockey, most entertaining period of hockey I've seen in an awful long time. It was wild.
Oh, it's one of those where we get one early in the third, and you're going, okay.
Yeah. Get another one.
Like at that point, like even before that, at that point, we just wanted to make it a good period for the fans.
Exactly.
Okay, and that's what we were looking for. We were hoping that it wasn't going to get out of hand. So we go in there, we score a couple of first one pretty quick, and then just keep it going here, guys. Keep fighting, and then a second one, and all of a sudden I believe it is 6-5 or 5-4 at one point.
It started to snowball.
It was 6-5.
Yeah,
we started the period. It was 6-1.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Then
6-1.
5 minutes left. It was 6-5.
And then
there was a giveaway, and then
7-5. You figure, okay, we're done.
Yeah.
Finally, the bubble is 7-6. Oh,
then they went back and scored again.
Shot.
Exactly.
So you had the empty net for the last minute and 20 seconds,
and you had a face-off with 15 seconds to go in their end. It was wild.
Doesn't it though, Mark? Don't you start thinking, why didn't we play like this?
Oh boy.
It was like, what happens there? Well, you said maybe after, maybe they let up a little bit, but the desperation, right? You need that from the first game.
There are two things. It's the desperation, number one. And number two, I think it's a combination of both teams, one team being ready and the other team having a big lead. And
figure they're home and cool.
And I've always said this to my players, the game of hockey, once you lose momentum, it's really tough to get it back. And we started gaining it over Powassan, and we took advantage of it. So, Macker, I mean, if I would have had an answer to that, maybe we'd still be playing in this series.
Because you had bad starts just about every game.
Yeah.
Bad starts. Why do you think that was? Were they nervous? Were they just, I don't know. You fell behind every game?
Well, you know what? We can't pinpoint one thing. It could be sometimes possibly not being ready, sometimes possibly not getting a big save when you needed it, or not capitalizing when you had an early chance.
That too, yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, if you look at the Sioux, the T-Birds and the Eagles series, you take a look at that, and I believe 3 out of the 4 games, Sioux Eagles came out on top early on with a couple of goals. I believe.
Scored early and
so
sort of changed
you know
the
what?
game.
It's sort of the same type of series where the team better prepared to start the game, took advantage.
All right, so we're in the
just a quick note I wanted to mention. The one highlight I would say from the whole playoff, Mark, that I saw, the Iroquois Falls and the Powassan, was the play of Matthew Broussard. I thought he stood out by far. He was the best player in every game.
Matt Broussard from November on grew on everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
He went from being a rookie to playing like a veteran by December. And
he was noticeable every game.
And I don't know if from day one of the season, if there were 3 players in the entire league that improved more than Matt Broussard from day one to the end.
You guys, you're not going to get a disagreement from me. Yeah. Matt played outstanding.
So conference finals are on. Let's get the coach's prediction. Timmins.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot there.
Yes, we are, because it doesn't involve the gold miners, so we don't. So we don't need your disclaimer anymore.
Yeah.
The X factor with Timmins is when they play at home. They got 1,300. They got 1,300, 1,500 people there.
I think the biggest thing, guys, though, is Powassan's got 3 or 4 very solid defensemen that I don't think many other teams in the league have.
Yeah,
it's just one of those years. Like we looked for defensemen as well, but they have really 2 sets of D that are really solid over most teams, and I think that'll be the X factor in that series. Yeah. And it's Sioux Eagles and Blind River.
That's going to be fun.
I said for a while now Blind River could possibly get out of the West.
Yeah. That's what I thought too. Then they almost lost a race on.
Yeah, and you know what? The Sioux Eagles, to their credit, ended up getting a couple of guys near the end of near the deadline.
A couple of big additions
that are huge additions, and I'll tell you, I think right now they're having the hottest goaltending in the playoffs.
And Greg, much like Timmins, you go to Sioux, Michigan, and
it's a big
there's
crowd.
900 people in the
But
stands.
like, it's got to be. These guys play all year at some small crowds in some of these places.
It's got to frighten you sometimes.
And there's like 1,300, 1,600 people in
Right
Timmins
on,
on a
It's got to be
Saturday
a little
night.
intimidating initially.
That's
right?
a little different than,
Yep.
than what they're
Absolutely.
used to. Like when we made the final and the place was full, right? Look how loud it was in
Yeah.
there. Makes a big difference.
I remember some of our guys saying it scared them when they come out of the dressing room onto the ice for the first time.
Well, you know what, and I'll tell you what, the size of the rink really matters.
Yeah, it
and
does.
I've noticed the last couple of years, like you said, Knacker, Timmins, the X factor being that rink, how small it is too. You take a look at the Sioux Eagles, same
small
type,
rink.
Small rink.
small rink,
Yeah.
and possibly the Sioux Thunderbirds not playing their games at the SR Center, that big rink.
Yeah.
And
You
took
know
away
what?
from it, yeah.
That could be a factor too.
So there you go. It's a testament to the league. The finalists 2 years, for a couple of years, it was you and the Sioux Thunderbirds battling it out all the time.
Yeah.
And now both of you are out in the.
Well, that goes
Early
back
on.
to the parity we talked about
Yeah,
all year.
yeah.
I mean, boy, oh boy, the parity this year is
It's a good league,
outstanding.
and it's only going to get tougher.
Yeah.
It's only going to get tougher. And just fun playoffs happening from coast to coast to coast. I think 7 in the final top 20 rankings, 7 of the top 16 teams are now out.
Oh yeah, in that 20 ranking thing. What does that tell you though? Maybe.
It's like leagues are tight right across the country.
Yeah.
I mean,
So you got a prospect camp coming up, Mark?
Yeah, late April, April 22nd and 23rd. It is in Barrie. We hope we get.
Why at this time of year, Mark?
Well, you're going to see more and more teams are starting to go that way. Here's the thing: there are a lot of showcases in May and June, like a lot of showcases every week or every weekend. And if you start holding camps in mid-August,
Okay.
you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball.
Guys have
Like, I
really
mean,
had
if it means that we can sign 4 or 5 guys out of this camp, we're 4 or 5 guys ahead than where we'd be in August.
exactly.
And of course, speaking of August, later in the year, the league's having a prospect camp
Yeah.
draft
Michigan.
weekend in Sioux, Michigan.
Yep. And
that's the first time that's ever going to happen, so that should be
Yeah.
interesting, Mark.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And coming back to the April camps, the one thing with the April camps is you're looking at this. Even a lot of minor hockey associations are having their tryouts now in the spring
That's true,
for the
too,
year
yeah.
after. So it's just one of those where people want to get ahead as opposed to being left behind. So we'll see how it works out.
It's a new way of doing things.
Yeah.
7:45. Thanks for doing this, Mark.
Right on,
Thanks.
boys.
Thanks for the season. We had a
Yeah.
fun ride.
No,
this year.
thank you. You guys have been terrific, honestly. You guys have been terrific again once more.
We wished the season could have lasted a little bit longer, but it was a good ride. And I mean, I don't know how many people are remembering we got swept, but a lot of people are remembering that third period was the most fun we've seen in an awful long time.
Exactly.
And hopefully it'll carry on. Have a great summer,
Right on.
and keep us up to date of any news that's going on, any superstar signings, young Connor McDavids that you're coming back with from these showcases and whatnot.
We'd be pretty happy if we got one of those.
Yes, we would.
Okay, boys.
Coach Marc Lafleur, after another season with the Gold Miners, and we will reconvene a couple times during the course of the summer. 7:46, another birthday kid here.